Hey guys, what's up? Still on track on my schedule. I know it's sort of the end of the week, but this is still, you know, a martial art week, and I got a video on it, though it's going to be a little bit more introspective than me jumping around and punching and kicking or showing drills and such. I do still plan on doing things like that, but I really feel the need to bring up what I'm about to bring up in light of recent events. And I'm probably going to end up touching on this with my next video as well, where I just wax philosophical or, just rant or whatever. So I guess you can kind of consider this a two-parter, but I'm going to stick with the theme of the week. So this particular week is the martial arts week, so let's talk about the martial arts aspect of it. So, one thing that I happen to encounter over and over again when it comes to martial arts is sooner or later, usually sooner, you bump into people or a certain mindset about how, once you learn a certain style or after a certain degree of training, you'll pretty much be able to take on anything no matter the circumstance. To quote one of my I don't say one of my favorite movies, but definitely one of the martial arts movies I like. The quote online, I can take on 20 guys at once. And you got a lot of people that because of a little training under their belt, and because they can throw around a couple of people in their dojo or their guam or their gym or whatever, they start feeling that they can pretty much handle just about any situation. And then later on, something may happen in the news or, they hear about some event and they're like, yeah, man, if I was there, or, say if they only allowed people to be able to defend themselves, things would have gone differently, Of course, obviously, this is touching on the recent shootings that have happened and now the outcry going over what to do about it. Of course, we're hearing the same old, I'm not really hearing anything new with the whole gun debate now, with these latest shootings that happened in the school. Of course, we hear the same old cries for gun control and the same old cries against it and the same type of arguments. And I'm now hearing the argument that, well, we should have the teachers be armed, which is not a new argument. I've heard this before. And people arguing back and forth on that. And the one thing I'm hearing with this is something that I've heard that similar to the whole martial arts aspect. Well, if they were able to defend themselves, then if the shooter shows up, if they had guns or they had weapons, or if they're, they'll be able to fight him back and stop him before the shooter's able to do much. And I question that logic. I question that logic as a martial artist. It's not like I'm an expert or anything, and I always make sure to spell that out. I do not consider myself an expert by any means. Compared to some of the people I used to train with and all that, yeah, they're the experts. And especially with the amount of time I have these days to go into the training, I don't have the same amount of time like I used to. So I'm definitely not putting myself at that level. But I know a bit. I know enough to have been able to knock my friends around. I know enough to be able to defend myself against an average individual who doesn't really have much training, or even if they do have training, depending on their level of training and how they fight, I can tend to hold my own. But one thing I know my martial arts has not given me is a superhuman ability to be able to get past any situation when I'm not prepared for it or when I'm not able to make the first move. There's something about martial arts that people tend to forget or that they don't know about. In that it's that the person that usually is able to make the first move has the advantage. A big advantage. A really big advantage. If someone gets the jump on you and you're not prepared for it, you didn't see it coming, you don't have your weapons at the ready, it's just something, oh shit! When it's one of those type of situations, there's usually very little you can do about it. I mean, depending on your level of training, you might be able to get away without losing your life if it comes to a straight up violent confrontation. But you're going to be lucky enough to get away, to get that going. To say nothing of being able to completely vanquish your foe. I mean, if it's somebody jumping you and it's bare hand against bare hand, if you've got a decent amount of training, you got an okay-ish chance of being able to get away fairly unscathed. Like, you might get a couple of lumps. The guy might get a couple of, you probably get a good few punches in before you're able to do something to really demolish the dude, but you might have a chance. But now let's say the guy gets the jump on you, you were completely unprepared, and he's got a weapon. The odds just got even smaller. If they got a knife, well, first of all, if your guy's coming at you with a knife, even if you're aware of it, and you're trying to fight, you're gonna get stabbed. I mean, I remember when I was doing my live stream before, and I happened to bring up one of my pet peeves about knife demonstrations, how unrealistic they are. That's what I was talking about. I mean, somebody else in the comment section was, or I think it was in the questions or whatever, but they were smart enough to point out, yeah, you're gonna get stabbed no matter what. That's pretty much what I was hinting at when I said I find them unrealistic. Oh, well, you'll be able to stop this and do this, and without getting, you're gonna get cut. It's just gonna happen. Like, it's a small weapon. And, I mean, just think about the fact that in fist fighting, you're going to make contact with the other person. Your limbs are going to be touching theirs. There may be some grazing going on. Even if you're able to deflect the blow and whatever, their punches are still going to get kind of close to your body. Unless they really don't know what the hell they're doing. With a knife, that's even more certain. Something's going to there's going to be some bleeding. The question is, how severely are you going to get fucked up? How much are you able to mitigate the damage? But you're still going to get hit. Now imagine, that's with you being aware that the guy's coming at you with a knife. Now imagine you don't even know the guy's coming at you until, oh shit! How much of an advantage do you think you have? Be honest. This is not just to the average viewer watching this, but to other people who train. Be honest with yourself. How well prepared do you really think you'd be in that situation? Now let's up the ante. Imagine he's got a gun instead. Be honest. Be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell it to me if you're too embarrassed. I understand. You don't gotta put your answer in the comments section. But be honest with yourself. How prepared do you really think you'd be in a situation where you weren't expecting anything, and a dude suddenly comes out of nowhere and lets loose with a projectile weapon? Even if you have one, how well prepared do you think you'll be able to be to fight that dude off? So much of martial arts training, especially, like training where you training for combat, even ancient martial arts, traditional martial arts is based on military warfare. And all that stuff is usually based on one main tenet. Hit him first, hit him hard, hit him fast. Defense is always the hard part. Unless you got a shield. Of course, you got a good shield, whatever, it's fine. Melee weapons, you got a good defense. But the whole thing is getting close and hit him fast, hit him hard. Defense is the harder aspect. I mean, unless you got a good, you got a good shield, or you got a good wall, or whatever, like, when you, like, a good example I can give where defense is a little bit easier is, like, say you're, planning a siege. You got a city you need to take over. They got their walls up high, they got their archers over there, they got people ready, at the walls ready to man it. That's the hard part. But because you got to find a way to break through those defenses. Well, then here's the funny part. Then it's about how long that defense can last. Now it becomes a waiting game. Now it becomes this whole thing of breaking down their resolve to fight, breaking down the wall. Just like, when I got a shield. But I'm getting a little bit off topic. The main thing is, usually, especially when you don't have a wall or whatever, it's like pretty much... This is why ambushing works so well. This is why many times, numbers work so well. Like, you get larger numbers and just sweep them. Catch them unprepared. Catch them unawares. Hit them hard. Hit them fast. Ambush them. Set up traps. Hit them where they're weakest. Catch them on bad terrain. Things like that. You're always trying to find an advantage so that they cannot fight you back well enough. You're not trying to fight them on equal ground. You're trying to get the jump on them. And you're always trying to find a way to increase that advantage. Whether it be longer ranged weapons, whether it be using armaments that are hard to break or that can easily destroy their own, or bust through their own armor, bust through their own defenses. Whether if you're fighting hand to hand, using your reach against their reach, or using your speed against their slowness. You're always trying to find a way to get an advantage on the other guy, and you're usually trying to catch them in a way where they're hit unawares. hit them on their flanks, hit them at their blind spot, get them to go here when you're going there. You're trying to constantly keep throwing them off their guard. And the best way to do it is to catch them flat-footed, when they're thinking about something else, when their awareness is somewhere else. So much strategy, martial strategy is on that. You will rarely find, unless you're doing sport-style training, you will rarely find a whole martial art style based on fight him honorably. Because nobody really, when you're in warfare or straight-up combat, you're not really trying to fight honorably, not unless you're fighting a duel, which is a completely different set of circumstances. When it's a straight-up combat, you're trying to get the jump on one another. And many times when it comes to personal self-defense, it's usually about how to deal with getting ambushed. And you will find, if you're being honest, there aren't really that many options. You only have one good tool when it comes to personal self-defense. Awareness. That's it. That's your one major tool that you have to depend on. That's the only thing that's going to keep you from being completely fucked. Situational awareness. It doesn't matter what techniques you have, how well you've trained in them, how good you are. If you are not aware of your surroundings, you have no clue what's coming, you're still going to get fucked. And the ancients knew this, which is why so many of their techniques were based on ambushing motherfuckers. Catching them unawares. Samurai waiting in the crowd for someone to pass by, then quickly pulling out their sword and chopping them before they can pull out theirs. Things like that. It's always about catching them flat-footed when they're not paying attention, when they're at peace, when they've relaxed their guard. Because once you catch them then, there is very little they can do. Unless you screwed up, or unless you got somebody who's able to raise the alarm so that, yeah, you're able to take out these couple of guys, but then the other guy go, oh shit, they're attacking us, and they're able to quickly mount up the defense. That's usually what saves them. But an individual, you weren't aware, you're pretty much screwed. Unless, I mean, if your reflexes are really freaking good, you may save yourself from straight up death or being completely incapacitated, but you're still fighting at a disadvantage. You're trying to fend them off before you can mount your counterattack. The only thing that will save you then is good training. Make sure your reflexes are like that, so that you're moving before you're even thinking about what you're doing. And that takes a while, that type of training. That takes a while to drill into your body, doesn't it? We know. Right? And if you're not constantly doing it, that fades over time. You got to keep training, otherwise that instinctual, where you're moving before you even realize, before you can go, oh shit, you're already moving. That's something you got to keep on doing. Keep on training. Keep on drilling. You're not doing that, it ain't there. So, now that I've brought that to everyone's attention, now that I've reminded people who should already know this about this, think about the debate again, and about the type of talk. If I was there, we should have been armed. Think of it in that context now. How much could really have been changed? Maybe a few more lives saved, but by how much? Let's be real. The people who would have been able to respond are those who hadn't gotten ambushed yet. The ones who got ambushed are still fucked. That's how martial arts works. That's how combat works. You get the jump on someone. You catch them on their blind side. You catch them when they're unawares. I'm not saying anything that we don't already know. I'm just reminding y'all of it. That's why whenever I hear those arguments, I'm just like, it's coming from what I consider to be from a sense of fantasy. You know, power fantasies, beliefs of our own supposed strengths of what we'd be able to do in a fight. I see this in martial arts all the time. If I was mugged, well, I'd do this and that and that and this. Yeah, sure, whatever. Are you aware of the guy coming at you? If you're not aware, much of that stuff that you're talking about is useless. You have to be prepared. Look, gonna relate a following story, and I don't know if I've mentioned this already, so I'm gonna make this brief. This was many years ago. I was like, what? I think I just turned 20? Maybe 21? This was a while ago. My memory's not as good as it used to be. But I was playing Street Fighter at a pizzeria near my house. And as I was playing, I see this dude walking up the hill. Like we had the arcade's like right here, and then there's the window right there, and we're on the slope, and I could see this dude walking up the slope, and he sees me and he's looking at me like. Now I knew that guy from before. He was always starting something. He never really did anything, but he was always starting something. And as he's walking away, he's going like this, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is the day he's gonna make a stupid ass move. You ever know those people that for some idiotic reason they just kind of hone on you and just want to try to rattle your cage for some idiotic reason? So he was just like, I'm like, okay, all right, make your stupid ass move. So I'm still playing Street Fighter, and as I'm playing, I suddenly just kind of feel. I can't describe it. I don't think feel is the right word, but it's the best word I can give you. I just felt a presence behind me about to do something. And I instantly, that's it. My body just moved. I elbowed the dude. I quickly spun around, grabbed his arm, slammed his head down on the freaking screen. You know, right on the, you know, the console. You know, the arcade cabinet. Just slammed him down. Have his arm pinned behind him, and I'm about to snap the elbow and the shoulder in one wrench when I realized it's my friend. Oh shit! I'm sorry. I thought you were someone else. I mentioned that not to talk about, I was great. No. I mentioned that because at the time I was training with a guy who pretty much drilled me all the freaking time. So I had that awareness, that sharp awareness. Plus, I had already gotten my senses hyped up by seeing that guy walk over and going. So I was already mentally prepared to like, okay, someone's going to do something. So now I'm like hyper aware. So at that point, trying to ambush me at that time in my training, and the fact that I was like, okay, something's coming. Yeah, I was prepared. But imagine if I had not seen that guy go there. Or imagine if my training wasn't as sharp. My friend would have gotten me in that headlock easily because I didn't sense him coming. I was concentrating on this. I'm playing with Chun-Li. I'm not really concentrating on what's going on around me. I would have gotten headlocked. I'm honest with myself to admit that. It was only because I was like, okay, shit. And my senses, you know, my training and all that type of stuff, I was able to be aware. That's the only thing that saved me from that. I'm sure many of us have a story like those of us who train in martial arts anyway. I'm pretty sure you guys have a story like that. Where you're like, oh yeah, you know, somebody tried to do something from behind, or they suddenly did a move and I instantly was able to react. Yeah, because your reflexes were up. Your awareness was ready. But I'm pretty sure you and I, we got plenty of stories also about how we were caught flat-footed by something. I got a lot of stories like that. A move comes out of nowhere. Or a sucker punch or something from somebody in training or whatever. We got plenty of stories like that. When you aren't aware and that blow's coming, you're going to get hit. And if it's by a weapon, chances are the damage is going to be pretty severe. You're not fighting from that. If you're a martial artist, you have, if you're training in martial arts, not just as a hobby, but as something that I'm using this to defend myself, I want to be combat ready, you have to accept that reality. That the one thing that is going to save you, the one thing that's really going to give you an edge against whatever the hell it is outside that's waiting for you, is your awareness and how much training you're doing to keep your reflexes sharp. Anything else is just gravy. Yeah, you got the techniques, but are you aware enough to use them when it counts? Are you able to spot the ambush before it happens? Are you able to sense the attack before it happens? Do you have a way of dealing with being caught unawares, which most people don't? Can you handle being in a disadvantageous, sorry, I can't speak, it's early in the morning. Just got back from work, I'm tired. Are you able to deal with that type of situation where they got a good weapon and you don't? They got the jump on you and you still got to pull your shit out. What do? You got a plan around that. You know have a way of quickly reacting. Or you don't, then don't act like you can survive any particular situation, because you can't. Let's be real. I'm not saying this to try to flatten people's egos. I'm saying this so that people don't idiotically lose their lives. Because there are going to be plenty of situations that's, God's forbid it happen to any one of you. But I've been in situations where my life was almost taken out. And the one thing that saved me was not being stupid enough to go, I can handle it. If you're caught flat-footed, you're caught flat-footed. Sometimes it's best to just put your hands up. The only time you really should be fighting is either you got the advantage or you know they're going to kill you no matter what. But having this unrealistic notion of, oh, no matter what, I can handle... you need to understand your situation. You need to understand what exactly you're in. If someone's got the jump on you, they got the jump on you. Admit that. We don't have eyes in the back of our heads. Our hearing is not as sharp as a cat's, like the one that was there a while ago. Our sense of smell is not that sharp. Come on. We're working with limited senses. The only thing that keeps us hyper aware is willingly, consciously working up that awareness. And keeping our reflexes sharp enough so that the second something happens, you can react. Your body just instantly knows how to move before you even put thought into it. If you're not at that level, you are not prepared. And by the way, this doesn't just work with hand-to-hand combat. This works with weapons, and this definitely works with guns. People who train in modern warfare know how important it is to be aware of their surroundings. And not only that, but wherever they're at, they're able to constantly keep a view of their surroundings. They're not cut off from anything, unless they purposefully cut themselves off as a defensive measure. They survey the room, or they survey the area. They keep an eye on things. Not just the people, but sudden changes in mood. Sudden, like, why is that guy coming up in a weird sort of way? Why is he wearing those clothes? Things like that. Can I get a move on it? That's the sort of thing. I'm pretty sure you've heard that one. This is one constantly quoted line that a professional killer should keep in his head. I forgot where it came from. It's like, a professional should be polite, be efficient, and have a plan to kill everyone you meet. That third part, have a plan. Most of us don't have plans. Even some of the better trained of us. If you don't got a plan, you're not training to keep that awareness sharp, when situations happen where you're caught flat-footed, you most likely are just that. Caught flat-footed. You're not Superman. You're not going to suddenly be able to survive that situation just because you're you. Or just because you have a weapon. It's one thing to have a weapon. It's one thing to have training. But it's another to be ready to use it at the right circumstance. If when the time comes to use it, you're busy doing this, game over. If when the time comes to use your special techniques, you're busy going, what was that? Game over. Let's be real. We know that's the reality. That's all I'm saying. Now, however, the debate that's going on these days with how to deal with the violence that's rampant and what to do about it, look, that's a subject for another time. I already got my opinion on that, and I'm actually going to go into it next week. But, however, whatever the right answer is for that, let's just get one thing straight. Just because you have techniques or have a weapon or whatever, that is no guarantee that you're instantly able to repel the situation. Never was. We have plenty of stories of fantastic fighters or great generals or armies that were supposed to be the cream of the crop in condition. And we have plenty of stories of how they were taken out by just some one dumbass ambush. They didn't realize something or they didn't notice something and boom, taken out. Plenty of stories about that. Warfare is full of stories like that. Martial arts stories are full of stories like that. And we have modern ones happening all the time. So if that's the case, can we please stop lying to ourselves or coming up with BS fantasies about what would happen if suddenly everybody just was armed or had martial arts training or whatever when a situation happened? Can we please be real? That's all I ask. Let's have this conversation with that reality in context. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, I didn't really mean to go all harsh and negative. I'm not even thinking I'm being negative. I'm just saying it's getting really annoying to keep hearing that, knowing the reality of the situation. And the fact that people should, if you're training in martial arts or any form of combat, you should know this. And it should always be on your mind. It's the reason why you're supposed to train hard anyway. You know what I'm saying? I've hammered on this long enough, and this has been 24 freaking minutes. I gotta get to sleep. Okay. Also, before I go, because I was supposed to say catch you guys later, some of you guys know that I was building a new machine. This video is the very first video recorded on that new machine. The new computer is here. The old computer is over there. I actually recorded myself putting it together. That's coming up. That video will be an extra. It will not take the place. It's not going to be one of the week videos. So like, you know, for instance, like the Nerdy Week, that's not going to be the video for the Nerdy Week. So it's going to be a bonus. Just a little extra treat for you. Okay? I'm not exactly sure when I'm putting it up. It might be this week. It might be next week. It just depends on my schedule, because my schedule's been kind of nuts. In fact, I'm kind of pushing my sleep right now just recording this. Because I got to get to sleep and I have to immediately get up and I got stuff to do and then I got to rush to work. So I'm just trying to get, you know, stuff rolling. I'm trying to keep up with the schedule I gave myself so that I can, you know, even though I'm treating this YouTube thing as a hobby, you know, at the same time, you know, I have a YouTube channel, so that means it would be nice to actually put stuff up on it. At least that's my own, you know, it's my own personal goal that I gave myself. Like, come on, be a little bit more responsible for the people that actually like it. You know, the people who are supporting your channel, not just the people who support me on Patreon, but just coming to watch in general. You guys have come to see me do something, so I should put up something. I don't want to have, you know, those years where I'm barely putting anything up. That's got to end. So, yeah, just saying. That's why I'm pushing it right now. But yeah, that video should come up soon. So hopefully you guys get a kick out of it, because it's some pretty good tech, and there's some kind of funny events that happen in the middle of it. Plus, I kind of say some really dumb things that you can make fun of while I'm doing it. So yeah, I'll have that video up soon, as well as the other stuff. So anyway, I hope you like this one, even though I know this martial arts themed one wasn't exactly, you know, on straight up techniques or styles. I'll make up for it with the next martial arts one. I promise. At least, hopefully I will. It depends on what happens in the month. Hopefully nothing's not going to happen for me to derail that, but I'll get back into styles and things like that to make up for it. So yeah, enough rambling. See you next week. See you guys later.